Welcome to the world's most fabulous people series. I'm your host today, Tonya Hofmann, and I'm so excited to introduce to you, oh my goodness, this incredible gentleman who is incredibly fabulous, Mr. Barney Kramer. Hey, Barney.
Hey, good morning, Tonya. How are you?
Good.
Good. I always love talking with you on one of these shows. You're one of those people that make the interviewee feel especially comfortable and at home. And I love your sense of humor, and so
Thank
great
you.
to be here.
Perfect. So tell us a little bit about who is Barney?
Barney, well, that's a real question. In fact, some would say I'm a bit of an enigma. Ooh, that's a fancy word this early in the morning, isn't it? I love doing it. I love playing with words, and I also believe it's important to keep them simple. But, I had a student in one of my classes recently, and I think we just, matter of fact, we just talked about her indirectly in an earlier show. And after having two or three meetings, spending 4 or 5 hours, she said, "You know what I loved about you? You kept it really simple. You explained it, and it turns out this is a person who has tons of business experience." And she said, "In fact, you reminded me not necessarily in how you look, but the way you handle life." Of she couldn't think of his name, but it was Robert De Niro in the picture, The Intern. And I said, I love it. So I've
Uh,
been researching whether I could use that because that is what I like to think to do. I like to take the complexity of life and boil it down to the simplicity and such in a way that people can understand and apply it. And of course, I have a lifetime of experience um, trying to find a better way for people to do what they're doing. And that happens to be in the business world. How can we make the hamburger a little better? How can we get it out a little quicker? Why do they have to do this? I could have done this differently. And
right.
so it's a guy that's always looking to make something better based on his past experience and keep it simple.
So have you always been this fabulous?
I didn't even know I was fabulous until I think maybe until I met you, actually. I always felt I was okay. I'll have to tell you a story. When I decided after 40 plus years of being in business and virtually all of it pretty successful, different, four distinct careers, I had always wanted to be a consultant because I seemed to be able to see better ways to do what's out there. It's just a gift or a talent or something I got in the genetic gene pool. And even having said that, when I had a couple other people, one of them was a consultant who I work pretty closely with, and I mean he's really done some high end work with lots of pedigrees and that type of thing. And it took me about a year and a half, and I was already in this. I knew I felt I had the ability to do it, but it took me about a year and a half to actually feel like I belonged where I was at, and that negative take kept running through my mind. Why are they listening to me? And some of it comes from the fact that, and I did some professional recruiting for about 15 years, and I was given some advice by an old timer right on. He said the better people are at what they do, the more difficult it's going to be for them to tell you what they do that's special. And I guess that's where I was really at. I found that what I saw as, well, it was obvious that you had to do this. It was simple to do that. It wasn't necessarily obvious to other people, particularly people who had not had the good fortune to learn some of those skills and some of those talents, and
Right.
you know, which is certainly one of today's biggest challenges.
So do you have a fabulous tip that you could share with our listeners today?
Um, I do. I've got several. Let's see. Well, now that's egotistical. I've got several fabulous. Why am I here? Right. Uh, I think indirectly, I want to talk about. You need to really have a clarity of vision. When someone asks you what you do or what it is that you want to do, if you're going to be successful in business, you really have to understand that. And I think that process it can be one of those things where we spend, depending upon your personality, you can spend months and years doing it, or you can think you have it the first day. But at the end of the day, I love the story about an Indian totem pole. Or let's take, I'm going to update it a little bit because that seems to be, that was too long. Well, actually, Michelangelo. But Michelangelo carved the David wood, and the David was supposed to have been probably the greatest sculpture of all time. And when he was supposedly asked, and by the way, I wasn't there when it happened, but I'd missed the event that week. But yeah, he was asked how he did that. He says, in the most humble of ways, he says, I started with a piece of granite and carved away all the parts, chipped away all the parts that didn't look like the David. And and I think that's what you have to do, because you really do have to have a thorough grasp on it. And when you get that vision of what you want to do and why somebody would want to buy what you have or use your services, then everything you do in business has to be, I think, has to start with a question, or somewhere in the process has to have the question in it: is this going to help me get to my goal and my objective? And then if it isn't, throw it away, get rid of it, because you'll have, what is it? There's a Chinese philosopher by the name of, uh, I forgot it. I think it's Ling Yang. He's fairly famous, I guess, in the Chinese world. And he says one of the arts to getting a lot done is learning what not to do. And that's pretty profound, because we can't possibly do everything and every idea that, for people that are creative at what they do, you can't have them all. Keep it simple, get a vision, and say, this is what I'm going to work towards. And if it doesn't take me toward my goal and my vision, then I don't want it.
Love it. That is awesome. I love that whole story. That is, you just need to continue to say that all the time, because that's like so brilliant.
So, if you talk enough, you get one once in a while.
Well, going from brilliance to, have you ever had a fabulously embarrassing moment, or like a snafu moment that you learned something fabulous from?
It is early. I guess I've spent a lifetime of making mistakes. In fact, I describe my journey. I was the kid that nobody could tell him what to do, and for some reason I had to learn it all by myself. And I didn't drop those propensities until I got into, and I mean, sometimes I still do that. But I was always going to do it the hard way. I didn't want advice. Let me figure it out. Let me do it. And, sometimes that, I have to be honest, I think it was long-term, but more embarrassing, even the development of my own business, with all the leadership skills I have and all of the things that I've done in the past, because it has been so different. It's frankly been embarrassing for me to come to the point in my life to realize that, boy, I live in a different world than we've lived in, and I can't do it the same way that we did it before. And I don't know if this is necessarily funny, but that's what my experience has been in the last 4 years. And so when I talk about collaboration, I didn't come to that easily. I didn't, it must have been pride, because I don't know what other word fits that. I was told you need to learn to figure out things for yourself and to do it yourself. And that was a generational thing as much as anything. Well, guess what? We live in a world where that's not going to happen. And, that aha moment that says to me, I never thought of it that way. I think it wasn't embarrassing necessarily, but the thing that I talked about earlier, where I had somebody in the room that said, there must be a better way. And here I am at my age, having embraced that concept so deeply that I didn't even realize that it was continuing to driving me. It's like being left-handed and not realizing you're left-handed because you've been left-handed for so long.
Right.
But I will have to tell you a short one that I was embarrassed at, and you have some firsthand knowledge of that, and that's at a speaker's function when the stupid microphone didn't work. And I was so engrossed in what I was going to say and what I did say that I waved that microphone around and had just a wonderful time with that. And I've had enough Toastmasters experience and speaking experience that I should know better than that. But boy, it was just like this wonderful thing. If Snoopy has his blanket and I had my blanket, waving it around.
It was great. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah. It wasn't what you said that day.
I was like, woo! I was like,
I want
you're about
to
to
hit you with that.
talking, and I was like, what is he doing with that microphone? It was great. So, do you have something fabulous to share with our listeners today that you like to give them?
I do. I've got a webinar coming up that it'll be on I believe it's the 30th of this month, and I've done something a little different with this. I've I've created sort of a survey of the half a dozen. If you're going to be a leader, you have to be able to work with people, and you have to be able to bring the best out of people, and they have to be able to meet the challenges and objectives of the company, and that falls right square on my shoulders. And when I hear people carp about, well, I can't get this guy or this person to do this, you know what, you're saying I don't know how to do what I'm doing. And so I put that together with a half dozen core competencies. Each of those will have a takeaway in it that you can take back to your business or your position in the company and apply it instantly to challenges or solutions that you may be having in the company. And each one of those has a huge monetary value. Two or three of them, one of them, as a matter of fact, can help your company be as much as 40% more productive. Just very simple skills. In fact, they're basic skills that we get overlooked in life.
And how do they get to that information?
They get to that either by going to the website www.smra1.com or email me at Barney, BARNEY, at smra1.com and just mention Pathways to Success. And I will, if you want to chat, I'd love to chat. If not, I'll just send you the link to that webinar. And it's on the 30th of May, and it will be at 11 to 11:45, which is about 30 minutes of presentation, a little Q&A afterward.
And it'll be recorded, so in case
It
they're
will be
listening to this.
recorded, yes.
Perfect. So reach out to Barney, get connected, and then go and watch the recording, or if you can, the live presentation. And it's all about getting connected to fabulous people like Barney.
Thank you, Tonya.
Alrighty, everyone. So we will see you next time on another World's Most Fabulous People series. Have a great day. Thanks, Barney.
Thank you, Tonya.